I knew there were so many opportunities for this event to have been prevented. So my problem was, how can I teach you to help stop abuse? Because most people find it hard to relate something discussed to their real life situation. The first part of my solution is to make up hypotheticals of how the Baxter event may have been prevented. That way you can relate similarities with your situation. So say you're a mum going through separation. You can pretend you're Hannah. Likewise, if you're a friend of someone going through separation, you can relate to the friend's role in the Baxter situation. Your situation will undoubtedly be different, but you should be able to identify opportunities to review and consider your actions. That way, you will have a chance to make a difference by making good decisions to help things go smoothly. I wanted to help people, but became hesitant. I did not want to cause heartache for anyone, even seeking legal advice to ensure I do the right thing by everyone. Then a lawyer said to me, "It's important information. People need to know this." I remembered why I started this. Because if this information was available when the Baxter family separation was going on, I believe this could have saved their lives and all the pain people have gone through. I strongly believe Rowan and Hannah were surrounded by good people trying to help. It has been the universal teachings of women's activists that has brainwashed society into the belief that all men are evil and disrespect women. Believe me, a good man, good husband, and good father is nothing but respectful and protective of their family. I knew there were so many opportunities for this event to have been prevented. But right now, most people can't identify these opportunities to change the outcome. I want to teach you how you can identify these moments if they present themselves in your life. I believe relating it to the Baxter family situation will help you identify the situations if they happen in your life. You'll see how one person could have made all the difference. And in the future, you could be that one person who saves a family. Most people find it hard to relate theory to real events. So I'll make up some hypotheticals of how this event may have been prevented. So armed with this knowledge, you'll be able to pick out when you have a chance to make a difference. If you're presented with such an opportunity, have the courage to talk, as your actions may benefit everyone. The first and most critical person is the mother, which in our case is Hannah. As Rowan was suffering from being boxed in, she became empathetic of Rowan's situation, saying she felt so bad for him.
Yeah. The night before he killed them, he was on the phone to the children crying, and when she hung up, or the children hung up, she said to me, "Mum, I feel so bad for him." And I said, "Don't, it's what he does." But she said, "I just feel so bad."
Yeah. I believe that had this information been available to Hannah, she would not have followed the same path from the beginning. All she had to do was make two discrete and independent issues. Issue 1 is their separation. Issue 2 is the children. I believe she knew how important the children were to Rowan. You can see that in their social media posts. Quite often women say that their partner is abusive to them, but he is a great father to the children. Women using domestic violence laws strategically marry the two together as one of the same. It then fits with the presumption of all men being violent, and she has justification to take the kids. Even many DV experts don't understand they are completely separate issues. It was claimed by Hannah's mother it was not Hannah's decision to deny access
on at least one occasion.
Taking them to see their great-grandmother.
And his excuse was then, because Hannah and I decided he wouldn't see the kids for a bit after that because he wasn't behaving until we had a parental agreement in order.
Yeah. Having information like this available may have given Hannah the courage to make her own decisions. If Hannah was being reasonable on access to the children, it could have stopped the whole cascade of events that followed. I think both Hannah and Rowan were good people. Feelings and emotions during relationship breakdown cloud people's judgment, and good decision-making is gone. By applying the simple rule of treat others the way you would want to be treated yourself, she may have changed her position. For example, if it was good enough for her to take the children away to visit family, why not allow Rowan to take them away also? This would have avoided Rowan being forced to run away with his daughter like he did on Boxing Day, to try and get more than a short visit. You often hear of fathers taking the kids like this because they are simply denied access and left with no help from anyone. Hannah may have reflected on the situation with this information and seen that providing reasonable access, just like she had, was not asking too much. Providing access has so many benefits for everyone. It gives the father, Rowan, hope by focusing on his future with the children. It would have relieved the conflict between parents, removing a major thing they were arguing over. The children would have benefited, as seeing both parents would have been a better environment than having their father ripped away. Another opportunity for change was when Rowan was seen in the area. Hannah may have realised when she denied access to the children, as a loving father, he would have been fretting to see them. Realising he wanted to see his kids and may have wanted answers as to why she is doing this to him. Providing access to the children could have avoided all the domestic violence orders, alterations, breaches and things like that, and significantly reduced the tensions between them. Many of Hannah's gym friends and friends represented Rowan's case for access to the children to her. If her friends were able to provide information about boxing in a father to Hannah, she may have reviewed her situation and seen how denying access was not fair, averting this disaster. The next person is the father, Rowan. This is why I have provided the facility to gift this information to someone. Rowan could have provided Hannah access for her to view the information. She could self-assess her actions. Of course, it would have been a completely different situation if Rowan was threatening to kill the children. It is reported here that Hannah said she loved him as the kid's father. She also effectively acknowledged it in agreeing to 50-50 equal shared care before she got the DVOs and those other things. So why take the kids from him and deny access to the person she loved as a father of her kids? Rowan may have gifted this information to Hannah's parents to see if they could understand providing fair access to the children was the right thing to do. It may have assisted in looking rationally at the path they were pursuing and how to make good, fair decisions.
His excuse was then, because Hannah and I decided he wouldn't see the kids for a bit after that because he wasn't behaving until we had a parental agreement in order.
From when he gifted this information onwards, Rowan could have documented his efforts to communicate and be provided access to his children. Now we know how men can be boxed in. If access continued to be denied and legal tools such as DVOs, breaches and alike were used without evidence, a father should have a good case that they should obtain majority custody of the children, as they are not using alienation tactics. Police issue DVOs because they assume they are told the truth and the person seeking it actually needs protection, not simply feeling they need protection because getting him out of their life with an AVO, DVO, or whatever the orders are avoids them confronting problems that need to be resolved for the children. For friends and those around Rowan, this information would have enabled them to understand his perspective. Having a marriage breakdown is stressful enough, but having your children taken and denied all access and being at the mother's mercy breaks down a father who is trying to protect his children. Not only family and friends, but the police, legal representatives, counsellors, therapists, and others he came across may have seen his situation, rather than assume he's like all men, violent. With this information about how a father can be boxed in, he may not have felt he had no way out. He may have had hope that a judge may see through the propaganda that all men are violent and see that good fathers who want to protect their children can be boxed into situations where the system is used to isolate them from their children. If anyone close to Hannah and her family raised a different point of view, they may have considered what others had to say with empathy.
And do you know what the worst thing is? Evil trolls that believe the crap he put on social media would send messages and text her with the most horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And some of them were people she thought were friends.
Yeah.
It was just horrific. People who don't know the real story. People who he showed what he wanted them to see.
Yeah.
For example, Hannah may have considered what Rowan's friend had to say in his communications to her. Rather than regarding it as disgusting abuse of Hannah, they may have looked at the facts of any points raised and considered if they were being fair or not. Remember, even if you don't think they're on your side, a person can learn a lot from their enemy. Rather than seeing this as another form of control, if Rowan's friend was in touch with her, he would have understood what Rowan was going through and be trying to help Hannah see what the consequences were for her actions. Evidently, Rowan's friend had empathy for Rowan and the children. The next potential saviour is Hannah's father. I'm sure Lloyd would have been a great representative had he known about how fathers can be boxed in. He was the one who said Rowan should be allowed to see his children on Boxing Day.
Christmas Eve, I said, look, I felt sorry for him because, which I think back now, why?
Oh, you and Hannah are nice people. I'm not.
Yeah.
No, me neither.
It was Christmas and I thought he deserved to see the children. You know, a father should see their children, monster or not. But I had to let him.
I suspect Lloyd would have encouraged good communication between Rowan and Hannah, which may have avoided the Boxing Day incident, where Rowan was told he would not be seeing his kids anymore. In fact, I don't think Lloyd would have allowed access to the children to be stopped over such a minor event. Lloyd was a good father and would understand the love between a father and his children. He seems to be the person who could imagine what he would have felt if Hannah and Nathaniel were taken from him as children. I think he would have been encouraging more visitation and removing the children from being seen as Hannah's only. The great opportunity would have been Hannah's mother, Sue. She believed she was acting to protect her daughter and the children. Society has been so influenced by the women's movement against men, it is almost universally accepted that if a couple are having problems, the mother should have the kids and kick him out. Get an AVO, DVO, or whatever you need to get him out of your life. Had Sue understood about a father being boxed in, I think she may have seen that the best way to protect the children was for Hannah and Rowan to separate quickly and easily. I think Hannah was beginning to feel they were being unfair. Sue and Hannah could have been a good team in keeping Hannah's separation issues completely separate from the children's custody issues. Sue knew Lloyd played a big role in raising their children. Likewise, Rowan could still play a role in the children's lives. Having Rowan share equal access to the children may not be what women's advocates support, and he may have been a constant thorn in the side for a while. But picturing the children having a great time with them and then a great time with Rowan would have been a good outcome for everyone. Imagine Sue saying to Hannah, "You're best just settling your separation quickly so you can move on with your life, love. Rowan was evidently not for you, but he's still their father. We will be there to support you like we always have. Who knows, once you get settled, maybe you'll find love with another man." I could imagine Sue talking to Hannah after she went into Rowan's car and took his stuff and tore it up.
So it was 9:15, and when Hannah went to get Trey out of the car, he had photos of her in underwear, A4 pictures all over the car, in the car.
Of Hannah?
Of Hannah. And she said, "What's this for?" And she cracked up. She said, "Much, you don't need to see this." And she grabbed them and screwed them up, and he got out of the car and grabbed her wrist and twisted her arm up behind her back. And I'd heard this and went racing out. And I just screamed at him, "You're in breach. You've breached your DVO. I'm calling the police."
I could imagine her saying to Hannah, "Honey, Rowan may have been trying to provoke you, but you went into his car and grabbed his stuff. I saw him trying to stop you. You both need to start thinking of your kids and get this separation over as quickly and easily as you can. You chose to get married, but it didn't work out. It will be easier for you and the kids if you both just start working together so you can move on with your lives." An added bonus is that Hannah's parents could have benefited financially from a smooth separation. They could have said to Hannah that maybe she should separate and see if they are able to work together to keep the business running. That way, both Rowan and Hannah would have income, which would make it easier. Also, the Clarks would not lose their investment in the business.
It was on behalf of my parents who had given so much financially to Hannah and Rowan when they were together to try and help them with their business. And then again,
let's consider what you can do as a friend to someone going through separation. Hannah had a friend who did not like Rowan from the start and was the one who helped her take the children to stay at her house. She said she deleted messages Rowan left on Hannah's phone. As a friend, you may be protective, but it is best you provide them the choice to know or not to know. That way, the person separating is making the decisions and in control of their own destiny. Hannah had talked to a friend who says she works in domestic violence support. Imagine if after talking with Hannah, she said something like, "Well, verbal abuse is a form of domestic violence, but both of you have been abusing each other. Your parents will always be there for you. You have been a great mum, and Rowan seems to have been a good dad. Why don't you move out? Tell him you don't want to be harassed anymore and want a divorce. Say you'll leave the kids with him while you move, and once you're established, you will arrange to share care equally, so it's fair for everyone. That way you can keep the children out of your relationship problems and focus on getting your life together. Anything which keeps things fair and balanced will reduce tensions between you. There was a time you chose each other. Your kids need their mum and dad in their life. It's best to get used to working together for them." Of course, Hannah also had other friends she talked to. Imagine if any of these friends raised that it was normal for couples separating to be having conflict. But Rowan has been a good father and was a good husband at the start. Why not keep your issues and the children's care completely separate? Those friends who are married could even say how their husband would be heartbroken if they were denied access to see their kids. Why not share care equally so there's no difference between you? That way, access is not going to be another issue you're arguing about. Now that this information about how a father may be boxed in is available and people have a new understanding, any of these people could have encouraged a fairness check. Imagine one of her friends saying, "Have you heard about how fathers can be boxed in because of the family law system? I mention it because they say to do a safety check. They say good mums can be boxing someone in without realising it. If he's been an abusive father and hurt your kids, then you have to protect them. But if he's tried to be a reasonable dad, you don't want to be using the children to hurt him. They say it can get quite dangerous when a good person becomes desperate when they're boxed in. I know you're a good person, but it won't hurt to check he's being treated fairly." We know these are simple, hypothetical illustrations, imagining how things may have been different. But I hope you can relate to various roles people can have if you find yourself involved with someone separating. Whatever role you're in, whether you're a friend, family, the parents of a child going through separation, or you are a parent going through it yourself, place yourself in the position like here and then think of what you can do to help the process be fair so everyone wins. You can use this as motivation to give you the courage to provide constructive help. It may have only taken one of these people to have changed the whole situation. It didn't need to change to be perfect, just enough that both parents could see a future with their children involved in their lives. If neither were boxed in, this whole disaster could have been prevented. You could be the person who has the courage to speak up and stop abuse or even save lives. Empathy is the key to gaining an understanding of the situation. Imagine if you are the other parent. If they are violent towards the children, addicted to drugs, or have any other real issue that affects the children, they would know they must deal with the consequences of that poor behaviour first. But if they're a fairly normal person and they're having false allegations made on them, or the system is being exploited by the mother, it would be obvious to them that this is being blatantly vindictive and not considering the children's best interests. You could understand that if you were having that done to you, you would feel it was not being fair, exploiting a system meant to protect people and is actually inciting abuse. A common way of justifying bad behaviour is to say, "But they have been abusive to me and deserve everything that happens to them." Let's forget who actually initiates the abuse and consider the children. Using the children as pawns to gain power is a form of child abuse by denying them a relationship with both parents. It is most likely that the parent exploiting the system is the psychological abuser of the other parent, and now they're abusing the children as they alienate the other parent from their lives. There will be cases where people will never listen to reason and stubbornly continue to exploit the system and alienate the other parent. This is when family and friends need to continue to encourage them to do the right thing. You may be accused of victim blaming, but remember, you are not only helping them, but you are helping the children have better lives. If these people continue down the path of alienation, the family law system must change to protect both the children and the innocent parent. It must make them accountable and the penalties severe enough to reflect the harm being done. I hope through these examples you can identify any opportunities to provide help to those that need it, or make fairer choices in your own life. Remember, if you're not sure, use empathy to place yourself in the other person's shoes and the answer should become clear. Good luck to everyone.